January 1860. French naturalist Henri Mouhot was trekking through the jungles of Cambodia. Deep in the forests north of Tonle, Sap Lake, Siem Reap Province, northwestern Cambodia, local guides led him to a place they called the City of the Gods. Massive stone structures emerged, covered in tree roots and vines. 5 lotus bud-shaped towers reached toward the sky. Measuring 1.5 kilometers by 1.3 kilometers, it was a colossal temple, the world's largest religious monument. Mouhot realized the significance of what he had discovered. He hastily sketched and recorded everything. The temple walls displayed intricate bas-relief carvings, dancing Apsara celestial dancers, battle scenes, mythological stories. A massive moat surrounded the entire temple complex. Mouhot asked the local people, "Who built this? When was it constructed?" Even the locals didn't know exactly. For centuries, this place had been forgotten in the jungle. Mouhot later wrote in his travelogue, "This temple is more majestic than Solomon's temple, more magnificent than Roman ruins." But Mouhot was deeply puzzled. Who abandoned such a massive city and why? The center of a city that once held 1 million people, left in the jungle for over 400 years. Why did one of the greatest cities in history suddenly disappear? What brought down this civilization? King Suryavarman II ascended to the throne of the Khmer Empire. He conceived an ambitious plan to build an unprecedented city in the Angkor region of Siem Reap Province, Cambodia. This temple was not merely a religious building. It would showcase the king's power and serve as his tomb after death, dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. For 30 years, tens of thousands of laborers were mobilized. Historians estimate between 25,000 and 30,000 workers. Massive sandstone blocks were quarried from the jungle, transported and carved. Some blocks weighed up to 1.5 tons. Elephants and thousands of workers hauled the stones. Temple walls were adorned with intricate bas-reliefs. Skilled artisans carved scenes from the Hindu epic Ramayana. Hundreds of Apsara dancer carvings decorated the galleries. By 1150, Angkor Wat was finally complete. A colossal temple measuring 1.5 kilometers by 1.3 kilometers. The central 5 towers symbolized Mount Meru from Hindu mythology. The massive moat represented the cosmic ocean. But Angkor Wat was not just a single temple. It was the center of a megacity covering 400 square kilometers. The population reached approximately 1 million people. By 12th century standards, far larger than London or Paris. One of the greatest cities of the medieval world. There was a secret that made all of this possible. Water management. The real power of the Khmer Empire was water. Cambodia's climate is extreme. From May to October, the monsoon season brings torrential rains. From November to April, the dry season brings almost no rain. Feeding 1 million people in this extreme climate seemed nearly impossible. But Angkor's engineers created a remarkable solution. They built massive artificial reservoirs called barrays. The West Barray measured 8 kilometers long by 2.1 kilometers wide. It could store approximately 53 million cubic meters of water. The East Barray measured 7.5 kilometers long by 1.8 kilometers wide. It stored approximately 37 million cubic meters. A network of hundreds of kilometers of canals connected the entire city. Sophisticated sluice gate systems controlled water flow. During the wet season, they stored rainwater and diverted excess water in controlled ways. During the dry season, stored water supplied agricultural land. Agricultural terraces spread throughout the city. Thanks to this system, rice could be harvested 3 times a year. In other regions, harvesting once a year was typical. Abundant food production sustained the massive population. It fed 1 million people. Even modern water engineers are amazed by this system's sophistication. In 2009, NASA researchers analyzed this system using satellite imagery. They concluded that Angkor's water management system was more advanced than many modern cities. But cracks began to appear in this perfect system. For centuries, the functioning system was slowly reaching its limits. Late 14th century, a crisis struck the Angkor Empire. To the west, the Thai kingdom of Ayutthaya grew increasingly powerful. The Khmer Empire and Ayutthaya kingdom clashed for decades. In 1431, the Ayutthaya army finally besieged Angkor. War elephants and tens of thousands of troops attacked the city. The siege continued for 7 months. The Khmer king ultimately decided to abandon the capital. 1 million inhabitants began migrating south. A massive refugee column passed through the jungle. The new capital became Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh was located where the Mekong and Tonle Sap rivers meet. This location provided easy access to trade routes and enabled maritime commerce. Angkor Wat and the megacity were left to the jungle. Temples were abandoned. Markets stood empty. The massive reservoirs were left unmanaged and neglected. The canal system slowly began to crumble. The jungle gradually swallowed the city. But historians questioned this narrative. Could war alone cause such a massive city to be completely abandoned? Throughout history, many cities suffered wars but were rebuilt. Why didn't they return after victory? Why didn't Khmer kings attempt to rebuild Angkor? In the 21st century, scientists discovered the real reason. Early 2000s, scientists began analyzing tree rings from the Angkor region. Tree rings are time capsules that reveal past climate. Narrow rings indicate drought, wide rings indicate heavy rainfall. Archaeologists from the University of Sydney collected sediment core samples. They drilled into the bottom of the West Baray. Layers of sediment contained centuries of history. In 2010, shocking research results were published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. From the late 14th to the 15th century, severe climate change occurred in this region. From 1350 to 1375, extreme drought persisted. Then from 1380 to 1420, another extreme drought struck. Sediment analysis from the west. Baray showed rainfall dropped to 1/10 of previous levels. The massive reservoirs dried up. Reservoirs that once held 53 million cubic meters stood empty. The canal system stopped functioning properly. Agricultural production plummeted. The system that fed 1 million people began to collapse. But there was an even bigger problem. After the drought, sudden torrential rains poured down. In the 1430s, extreme flooding occurred. The aging canal system couldn't handle the floods after centuries of operation. Canals collapsed. Sluice gates were destroyed. Sediment clogged the canals. According to 2018 research by American scientists, this was a cascading failure. When one canal collapsed, it overloaded connected canals. The entire system collapsed like dominoes. The system that fed 1 million people completely failed. The Ayutthaya invasion was merely the final blow. The real reason was climate change and water management system collapse. People who left couldn't return. Rebuilding the water system was impossible. After 1431, Angkor fell into silence. The jungle slowly consumed the city. Massive tree roots wrapped around temples. Spung tree roots grew through stone walls. Stone statues disappeared beneath vines. Taprom Temple became completely one with the trees. Separating temple from tree became impossible. Hundreds of temples vanished into the jungle. However, Angkor Wat itself wasn't completely abandoned. Cambodian Buddhist monks maintained this place as a sacred site. In the late 15th century, the Hindu temple became a Buddhist temple. Buddha statues were installed. Monks continued their practices here. Occasional travelers passed through but didn't understand its significance. In the 16th century, Portuguese monks visited this place. They recorded it as comparable to Roman architecture. In the early 19th century, French missionaries also saw it, but the world didn't know Angkor's true scale. In 1860, Henri Mouhot systematically introduced this place to the West. When his records and sketches were published in 1863, Europe took notice. The French colonial government began protecting this site. Archaeologists started excavations, but Angkor's real secrets weren't revealed until 150 years later. Dr. Damien Evans's team from Australia decided to employ revolutionary technology. LiDAR light detection and ranging, aerial laser scanning technology. From aircraft or helicopters, millions of lasers per second are fired at the ground. Lasers pass through tree leaves, hit the ground, and reflect back. Computers analyze this data to reveal terrain hidden beneath trees. In 2015, they scanned approximately 1,100 square kilometers of the Angkor region. It was the most extensive archaeological aerial survey in history. Data began transferring to computers. Researchers were speechless looking at the screens. The results were shocking. Angkor Wat was not a small temple. It was part of a massive urban network covering 400 square kilometers. Grid-patterned streets were perfectly preserved beneath the jungle. Hundreds of temples were completely invisible from ground level, but LiDAR revealed them. An elaborate canal system spread throughout the city. Residential areas, roads, ponds, and dams were all confirmed. Angkor was the world's largest city in the medieval era, far larger than London or Paris. No European city of that time matched this scale. Dr. Evans said in 2016, "We had no understanding of Angkor's true scale." LiDAR technology continues to yield new discoveries. In 2018, more cities were discovered north of Angkor. A 9th-century city called Mahendraparvata was confirmed through LiDAR. In 1992, Angkor was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Currently, approximately 2.5 million tourists visit annually. Archaeologists continue making new discoveries. Scientists research the relationship between climate change and civilization collapse. In 2020, when COVID-19 halted tourism, researchers conducted more excavations. Angkor's story sends an important warning to the modern world. How water management system failure can bring down a massive civilization. What dangers climate change can bring. What consequences unsustainable urban development can cause. The megacity in the jungle still teaches us lessons today about human ambition, nature's power, and the dangers of climate change. Angkor Wat's 5 towers still stand reaching toward the sky. Having endured 1,000 years of time,